who is purchasing this quantity of XRP? Ripple's alleged $20 billion 0 cents deal for Circle is questioned by a Bitcoin specialist. That's what Crypto Basics title says, but should we worry about it at all? Here's why. Take a look at this block headline, which you can find here. Brad Garlinghouse denies the rumors, claiming that Ripple never attempted to buy Circle. Yes, you heard correctly. Ripple wasn't trying to acquire Circle or overtake USDC, the second most popular stablecoin in the world, according to Garlinghouse. This is something to think about, isn't it? However, what about all those other reports that appear to support the exact contrary and come from reliable sources? There is much to unpack here. Oh, and if the sale actually went through, you can call me suspicious about the notion of someone purchasing this much XRP. We'll discuss that in more detail later, but let me be clear first, before we continue, remain tuned. I have no experience in finance. You should not base any investing decisions on anything I say or write, because this is not financial advice. Okay, let's get started now that we've cleared it up. For the past 5 weeks or more, this tale has been circulating around the news cycle. As reported by The Block, this is the original item. According to Bloomberg, Ripple caused a stir on April 30th when they made an offer to purchase Circle for $40, 0 cents, to $5 billion, 0 cents, 0 cents. But the deal was turned down. The fact that Bloomberg broke the story first gave it credibility. We talked about the rumors at the time, since, let's be honest, nothing was confirmed and neither Circle nor Ripple would comment. This was not unexpected. Many times silence can convey a lot without actually disclosing anything. We couldn't help but wonder whether there was more to the story though, given Bloomberg is known for its trustworthy scoops. It certainly got folks talking whether there was or wasn't. It's interesting to note that in the weeks that followed, Bloomberg wasn't the only source. The mystery was increased when numerous other people made similar statements. To be honest, it's one of the things that makes this whole issue so confusing. Did a contract ever come up for discussion? Perhaps not. It's quite crazy to consider. In any case, by April 30th, we start seeing headlines like this, and by May 20th, we see even more. According to reports, Ripple outbids Coinbase for the Circle acquisition by offering $11 billion, 0 cents in cash, in XRP. Many media sites covered this story like wildfire, and a lot of it can be traced back to Paul Barron's comments. Paul Barron has a large following on YouTube, 1.4 million subscribers to be exact, and is a well-known figure, particularly in the tech industry. He occasionally delves into crypto issues, although his output isn't solely crypto, nor is he an amateur. Paul Sharp, detached from the rumor mill mob and thoughtful. He made some really interesting announcements on May 19th of this year. He claims that Coinbase and Ripple are engaged in a bidding battle for Circle. And here's the thing, with a reported valuation of $9, 0 cents, 11 billion, Ripple may have the advantage. Information comes from a number of reputable sources, but that doesn't imply it's final. This intel has a little more weight because it has been shared by reliable people. We've all been there, I'm sure of it. Right into this out. I'll reiterate, how did things go so horribly wrong? I know that nothing is ever sure. Being a little off is not what we're talking about. This seems like an entirely made up story that never happened. Here is the most recent headline. Circle, the company that issued Circle coins, is aiming for $7 billion. The impending IPO is valued at $200 million, 0 cents. I won't get into the piece, but it appears that this could be happening in the coming weeks. Big movements, huh? But hold on, let's change course. The Block claims that Brad Garlinghouse, the CEO of Ripple, just made a shocking revelation. Ripple never attempted to purchase Circle. In an interview with Chris Brummer of Georgetown Law, Garlinghouse referred to the speculations as fake news, in contrast to what recent reports indicated. No deal for $4, 0 cents, to $5 billion, 0 cents was ever being considered. He was very clear that Ripple never pursued the storyline very far. Although he expressed his wish for the company's success, Brummer made it apparent that sharing the X update this Tuesday wasn't on his radar. This came after a discussion that wasn't initially broadcast that took place on stage at the Ripple Las Vegas conference barely 48 hours prior. Wondering, huh? If Brad Garland's house indeed told Brummer this, then that's great, but why hasn't Ripple spoken out yet? It's puzzling that they're now prepared to comment. What's actually going on here? The entire scenario seems like it belongs in a thriller. Not to mention that in April of last year, Ripple revealed its own stablecoin, RLUSD. The news caused a stir, even though it wasn't labeled RLUSD at the time. Circle, meantime, appeared to remain composed and professional. Everything about it is crazy. They've sent their best wishes to Ripple, but I couldn't help but think, well, Ripple is obviously getting ready to face Circle. Since the cryptocurrency industry is still in its infancy, a giant like Ripple has the potential to intervene and upend the status quo, especially given their large financial reserves. They could actually make this work if they play their cards correctly and don't make any significant mistakes. This is where things become fascinating though. Circle isn't taking it easy, they're shooting their own shot. Oh no. Similar to what RippleNet has been doing, Circle recently announced a remittance and payments program. Is it a coincidence? No way. Two titans are now going into each other's lane and choosing to compete directly in their competitors' domain in the same year. The crypto showdown is already underway and it promises to be an exciting spectacle. After all of that, you might be wondering, wait a minute, could this be like spaghetti and meatballs? Two components come together in a logical manner. Sure, it's plausible, but who can tell? Perhaps this is an exaggeration, or perhaps there was a secret development going on. Brad Garlinghouse, however, doesn't appear to have taken any official action. Perhaps Brad is being so selective about what he says because of some informal backstage conversations. Will the whole story ever come to light? Perhaps, perhaps not. In any case, it's crazy to consider. This is where things start to get hot. It was reported by Bloomberg that Circle declined an offer from Ripple. Apparently it was too low. Then apparently Coinbase, which has strong ties to the stablecoin sector, jumped in with a counter bid. A representative for Circle has categorically refuted reports of a sale, declaring that the business is not for sale. Rather, Circle is preparing to go public under the ticker CRCL, maybe as early as this week, at a remarkable $7 billion, 0 cents, $200 million, 0 cents value, 32 million. Shares of Class A common stock priced between $27.00 and $28.00 will be offered as part of the plan. It's interesting to note that Circle abandoned a proposed SPAC merger in 2022 that would have given the business a $9 billion, 0 cents valuation. This is when the exciting part begins. Would XRP holders have been negatively impacted by this? To be honest, I'm not entirely sure. After all, developing a good business plan may be done in a variety of ways. Ripple had no intention of rashly flooding the market with XRP and causing its value to plummet overnight. They simply don't do it. There are multiple approaches to running a business, as the saying goes. Therefore, the crucial query is, where is the funding coming from? Sure, there are some logical responses, but let's look a little closer. Here's today's trending subject. Who is prepared to buy this much XRP? According to a Bitcoin analyst, Ripple's reported $20 billion 0 cents offer for Circle is not being held back. Could there have been casual conversations behind the scenes, perhaps not involving Brad Garlinghouse directly, but perhaps taking place on the sidelines and of which he was just vaguely aware? Of course, it's just speculation. Perhaps there was even a remote possibility that the purchase would be completed, but now that Brad has come forth and said what he did, it seems like everything is falling apart, or perhaps it was never discussed in the first place. You never say never. Unusual events can occur, and who knows, perhaps this is one of those occasions. After saying all of this, I'm not holding my breath, but perhaps something significant does happen. Let's get started on the current query. Would this be a poor decision? The scoop is as follows. Ripple's purported interest in purchasing Circle, the issuer of USDC, is the talk of the town and is igniting discussions in the cryptocurrency community. In order to finance the purchase, Bitcoin fans are wondering if Ripple will need to sell off a portion of its XRP assets. Here's the worst part though. Ripple may not have as much leeway as people believe because the majority of their XRP holdings are held in escrow. A statement made by Bitcoin expert Dave Weisberger has generated a lot of discussion in the XRP community. He asked a thought-provoking inquiry. How would Ripple raise the required money if it intended to buy Circle? Would it include the sale of XRP valued billions of dollars? Who is going to purchase this much